Hello, this is Nick Miller for Protest and Liberty Today. This is a special month for us here because October 2017 is the exact month of the beginning, the 500th anniversary of the Protestant Reformation. Because of this, we're going to spend some special time looking at the history and beliefs of the Reformers. Often on this blog, we'll deal with issues of contemporary interest, bringing those principles from the past to the present. But for several videos, I'm going to go through a book that I've written. It's called The Reformation and the Remnant, and we're going to have a sub-series here on Protest and Liberty called Reformation Beliefs. This first volume of that is called Why Listen to the Reformers? And it basically asks the question, if Protestants believe in sola scriptura, the Bible is the basis of all spiritual truth, why do we care what the Reformers themselves taught? Isn't finding out what Martin Luther and John Calvin and the other Reformers taught just another form of human tradition? As Protestants, haven't we set human tradition aside to get our beliefs solely from Scripture? Well, sola scriptura is important, and we'll have another whole video on that down the road. But today, I'd like to point out that even if you believe that you get all of your beliefs from the Bible, you still have to read and interpret the Bible, don't you? All of us wear glasses. Even if you don't need the reading glasses that I need, we all read texts through our own time, place, and circumstances, through the culture that we live in. Anyone who's learned another language, tried to do interpretation, knows that there's not always one word that perfectly means something in the other language, a corresponding word that's precisely the same. We have to communicate ideas using a variety of words. A good example from the Bible is Christ famously said, "I am the bread of life." Well, that makes sense to us Westerners, where bread is the center and the staple of many of our diets. But what if you're in Asia? What if you are in a culture that really doesn't have much bread? What would Christ have said then? How do we interpret this more effectively? Perhaps in parts of Asia, it would be better understood to say, "I am the rice of life." This raises the point that whatever we read the Bible, we're having to read through time and culture, and whether we're reading the same thing that the authors meant is something that we have to explore. There's a very important text in the Bible that I think helps us understand this. Hebrews 12, verses 1 and 2, talk about a great cloud of witnesses that surrounds us, that urges us on, that points us to Christ, and that we should seek to remove ourselves from sin and to pursue Christ at the urging of these witnesses. Now, who are these witnesses? Well, Hebrews 12 comes immediately after Hebrews 11, and these are the great martyrs and prophets of the Old Testament, those who stood, witnessed, and died for the faith. In a sense, who are our witnesses today? Well, they're not alive anymore. These folks were long dead, but it is their memory, the history of them, their understanding of the gospel that can help point us to Christ. And I thought it was interesting that the word witness is used here. These aren't authorities. They don't tell us what to believe. But they can tell us how the Bible might be understood in ways that we don't obviously see. Does the Bible itself teach this? Well, it's interesting. There are many biblical stories about some people helping other people understand the Bible. Whether it be Priscilla and Aquila teaching Apollos the better way of the Lord, Philip teaching the Ethiopian eunuch what the text in Isaiah meant, Christ himself on the road to Damascus explains the prophecies of the past. And the most interesting part of that story is that Christ hides his identity. Why does he do that? Well, because he wants the disciples to understand this based on their reading of Scripture and their separate view of it, not based on the authority of who Christ was. So these witnesses are people we engage in Bible discussion that help us see things we previously didn't see. A pastor, a Bible worker, a parent, all of these people help us understand the Bible, but they don't become authorities for us. Rather, they help us see things that we couldn't otherwise see. I look forward to continuing our discussion on this. This is Protest and Liberty Today.